Welcome to episode number 162, the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We're recording live on YouTube on October 20, 2016. We got a lot of topics to talk about this week, as usual. Among them, post-debate fallout, mocking drones, Richie Rich's Facebook, Apple's new scheme, Periscope Pro, short-form WSJ, Twitter scorned, and failing systems. And we always kick it off with the worst stories of the week. BL always has the honors to tell us what was the worst story of the week, BL.
Well, remember a while back we said we didn't want to talk about Donald Trump, but that's become absolutely unavoidable. And the worst thing that happened this week was yesterday when Donald Trump told his followers, forget the press, read the internet. He said, it's irrefutable that the internet is going down, the mainstream media, the internet is best, the mainstream media is going down. They have a lot of problems, big problems, very huge problems. And, so I looked for some irrefutable proof that he was correct. And there was the irrefutable proof that Michelle Obama is a man. That's a video that's on YouTube. And then proof that, this is my favorite, proof that Hillary's younger body double disappeared while on stage. There's a video showing that her younger body double disappeared while she was on stage. And you can go on. You can find, as we all know, just about anything on the internet. Whether or not it's going to be true, well, that's another story. But then again, whether or not anything Donald Trump says is going to be true is another story, isn't it?
Yeah, you might want to stick with Snopes and PolitiFact while you're watching the presidential election this season.
Well, Benny has a few comments to make. Benny, you're on the air here. Okay.
Everybody's got an opinion, don't they?
Okay.
Yeah. So this you might want to check. You might want to check Snopes for this one because it is a rumor, but Apple may kill the USB port. This is from a Next Web article by Mix. Japanese publisher Meiko Takahara was among the first to predict that the iPhone 7 is killing the headphone jack, which everybody was up in arms about. And so they're reporting another rumor that the new MacBook Pro may ditch the standard USB port in favor of USB Type-C. The website claims that along with the USB port, Apple may also get rid of the MagSafe 2 and Thunderbolt 2 ports. Instead, the MacBook Pro will support Thunderbolt 3, and that means, of course, you'll likely have to charge your laptop through a USB-C port or a Thunderbolt 3 port, and of course, so you'll still need to resort to some sort of adapter, which means that if you buy a MacBook Pro, you're going to have to buy a bunch of other peripherals, which Apple will sell you. Exactly, expensive peripherals, which Apple will sell you. They sell their own USB Type-C dock, and it's a pricey $79. So thanks for that. Another money-making scheme by Apple.
Well, this is what Benny thinks about that.
Thanks for that.
From him. So, that really makes me sad because I'm an Apple person, and you're going to take. I use an adaptive keyboard, and that is a USB keyboard. There's a couple of other things that I use, including my microphone, which is broken tonight, that have USB ports. I mean, I'm not buying all that equipment. I'm just not going to, because I'm not one of the people who can join the new $1,000 a month social network for rich kids. This is from a Next Web story by somebody who calls himself Mix, and the tagline on this new social media site is, "If it's $1,000 a month, if it's too much for you, it's not for you." So says the Next Web, well, you can sign up for the service for free with your Facebook account. The only users who can actually share content are the loaded pricks willing to pay a hefty membership of $1,000 a month. And they're trying to sell themselves as charitable. I don't know exactly what they mean by that. Oh, it says a third of their grossly exaggerated prices will go to the education of poor kids, whatever that means. And surely there'll be a couple of jerks who will pay for that. So tonight, right before the show, they were whining on Twitter that Apple is removing Rich Kids app from the App Store because it finds the app inappropriate. We're sorry, but there's nothing we can do. Too bad.
Yeah, not joining. Not joining. So I don't have another bad one. Have you got any more?
Well, I have a weird one. Uber had this great idea that they would put ads on drones and then use them to heckle drivers who are stuck in traffic. They're trying this out in Mexico. This is from a MIT Tech Review story by Michael Riley. And, these things are buzzing a few feet above their windshields. And they've been doing it in Mexico City. And they were basically trying to get people to go into Uber ride sharing, so driving by yourself. They were scolded in Spanish. That's why you never see the volcanoes, which is a reference to the smog that hovers over the city and obscures two nearby volcanoes. But it was an ad for Uber Pool, and so the poor drivers, they can't get away from it. Is it good for business? Geez, I hope not. So what's next? Scary clown drones? Somebody already did one of the Grim Reaper flying around scaring people, a drone with a Grim Reaper costume, and it's flying around and scaring people, and then the video will be on the show notes of all the people running around. The Grim Reaper's chasing me. I mean, really.
So I would have put that in good. I think that's hilarious. Uber's having
well, that's good, but Uber's is not so good. So that brings us to better news, huh?
It does indeed, and I've got a political related one. Be forewarned, but it's pretty funny. Trump Book Report. The hashtag Trump Book Report trended. This is according to a story on Mashable by Lindsay Davis. So in the wake of last night's presidential debate, the hashtag started trending, and it was some hilarious tweets imagining Donald Trump giving a book report on famous works of literature. Apparently started by Antonio French, who was a candidate for St. Louis mayor, who tweeted, "Trump's foreign policy answers sound like a book report from a teenager who hasn't read the book. Quote, oh, the grapes, they had so much wrath." Other examples included a tweet that said, "A tale of two cities. And Chicago is a really dangerous city. Probably the most dangerous city. Disaster." Another one read, "It was the best of times. Absolutely phenomenal. It was the worst of times. Total disaster." Another one read, by the way, the rye. The rye is a tremendous problem. But how stupid is the catcher? He's not catching anything, believe me. And lastly, look, I don't know I don't know Voldemort. He said nice things about me. If we get along with the Death Eaters, wouldn't be so bad.
There was another one that cracked me up. It was, I read Hamlet. There was no ham. There was no omelet. What a disaster. So I don't know why we're laughing, but because he's still really running for office. Anyway, better news, Periscope launched Periscope Producer, and it's aimed at media companies and brands and content producers like us. And this is from a Medium article by Alex Pettit. And it's a way to broadcast on Periscope that opens up the possibility for a lot of new creativity, because you're able to create studio quality broadcasts using any external video source to connect. So laptops, vision switchers, encoders, phones. Periscope will accept streams from pretty much anything capable of what's called real-time messaging protocol. And then there's the ability to stream this high quality video with streaming software and professional cameras and lights. So the quality is likely to get a lot better. And it's hopefully going to make for some better quality broadcasts, visually and in terms of content and entertainment. And we're going to start to see the use of multiple cameras and on-screen graphics and green screens and, lots more that can be brought into live Periscope. And viewers can still do all the things that they do, send hearts and comments, and, you can have the comments streaming live. And they've also introduced Periscope TV, but they said you're going to be tempted, Periscope said you're going to be tempted to just pump up what you would put on TV, but don't do that. There's nothing impressive about that. This is about real-time interaction. And the broadcasters who succeed will be the ones who use the technology to create interactive programming where the audience feels like part of the stream, not a viewer but a contributor. And then they also did the Periscope VIP program that you have to what's the word I'm looking for? Subscribe. You have to ask to be a subscriber. You have to have 10,000 followers on Periscope and have an average of 200 viewers of your live broadcast. So, and you have to broadcast at least twice a week. So that's really a big deal for creators who have big audiences. So this is going to be an interesting change for both Twitter and Periscope.
Well, they got to keep up with Facebook. Facebook is doing that. YouTube has that already. I expect. Yeah, exactly. I expect it'll be integrated into Twitter eventually. So it'll be interesting to see how that takes off. I came across today actually a story that. It's a very good story. Hillary Clinton posted on her Instagram back in June, I think, George H.W. Bush's good luck letter to Bill. This is from a Business Insider article by Angelica Oswald. So in the wake of the Trump's debate, comment about refusing to accept the results of the election, this letter started trending on social media. And it's a letter that George Herbert Walker Bush left for his rival, the incoming president, Bill Clinton, in the Oval Office on Inauguration Day. It's gone viral. It was a handwritten letter that read, "Dear Bill, when I walked into the office just now, I felt the same sense of wonder and respect that I felt 4 years ago. I know you will feel that too. I wish you great happiness here. I've never felt the loneliness some presidents have described. There will be tough times, made even more difficult by criticism you may not think is fair. I'm not a very good one to give advice, but just don't let the critics discourage you or push you off your course. You will be our president when you read this note. I wish you well. I wish your family well. Your success now is our country's success. I'm rooting hard for you. Good luck, George." That is a glaring contrast to the fool that we have running for the Republican side this election, and there's a reason it went. It makes my heart warm that it went viral because there are a lot of people who feel that way. That is a show of grace and goodwill of a rival, and the fact that Bill Clinton and George W. Bush are great friends right now says a lot about the greatness of this country. And it is the polar opposite of what Trump is.
And what he said tonight is even worse. He said, yeah, I will definitely accept the results as long as I win. Like, can't this election be over? The pizza place across the street from my house has a sign outside that says, at this point, I'd like to vote for pizza. I agree. So equally distressing is domestic violence. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And there is a not particularly safe for work at the beginning, but it gets there. This comes from Go West Creative Group and Elephant Journal. And this is a video called We Are the Lions. It's by poet and actor Steve Connell. And it makes a really powerful and provocative statement that to end domestic violence, we have to change the mindset of men. And he was performing it and was filmed at the YWCA of Nashville and Middle Tennessee. They want to make Nashville the safest city in the nation for women and girls. They operate the largest domestic violence shelter in the state, and they partnered with Go West Creative to create this video to raise awareness and to be part of a solution for ending gender violence. And they make the point, and I will make the point as well, if you or someone you love is in need of immediate assistance, please call the National Domestic Violence Helpline. The number there, you can find at http://mendusa.org. If you need help, please go there.
Very good. No transition from that, but
there's no transition from that.
So I came across a very interesting article in the Washington Post. Twitter is still for sale, allegedly, or they've tried to get bids, had some suitors, and who knows what's going on with that. But Haley Tsukiyama from the Washington Post notes that Salesforce has said that Twitter is not the right fit for them. Disney is said to have dropped out over concerns about trolls and bullying. Google is reportedly no longer interested, so what gives? The boring financial answer is that Twitter doesn't make enough money off of its devoted users, nor does it know how to grow and get more users to compensate for that fact. Past several Twitter earnings reports have shown revenue growth and user growth have been lower than expected. Twitter's biggest issue has been an ongoing struggle with harassment, abuse, and just bad behavior on the network. She says there tend to be two camps of thought on the issue. That one says that Twitter needs to police its content more thoroughly and keep damaging posts off the network. The other says any attempts at cleaning up the network is tantamount to censorship from a network that touts its role in the Arab Spring. So that's a difficult issue. Moving too far in either direction will tend to alienate a lot of users from either camp. Good argument. I think a lot of good points made in that still. Hopefully somebody comes along and advises. I think Google is still the best fit. This may all be just positioning before to drive down the price of Twitter so somebody can swoop and buy it. So we'll see. But, you know, Google could integrate it with integrate Twitter and Periscope into YouTube. You know, they want to get video more social. Leave the core of Twitter alone. Because it works. Mine its data, which they're already doing with search. They could help develop ad targeting to be more sophisticated or as sophisticated as Facebook's, which would be a really good thing to position it as a go-to channel to reach influencers, because media, bloggers, podcasters, whoever wants to be an influencer is going to be using Twitter, and they've got audiences there. And then finally, enforce people's true identities if you want to have more, if you want to get rid of the trolls and the bad behavior. That's basically what I think Twitter should do, regardless if it remains independent. And maybe the lack of buyers would give Dorsey more time to kind of fix things. So we'll see.
Well, I agree that this is a way of driving down the price, and that Google is absolutely the best possible buyer. And I sincerely believe that they will, in the end effect, buy them. And, you know, they have plenty of money. They can afford to pay for it.
Mm-hmm,
so, and, you know, we all need kind of something to cheer us up. And the thing that cheered me this week is that Chuck Berry is going to release a new album at the age of 90. And, you know, he's one of rock's absolutely principal architects. He impacted everybody. You know, he said, I'm growing old. I've worked on this record for a long time. Then I can hang up my shoes. And everybody from the Beatles and the Stones and everybody else has recorded his work. And Paul McCartney called him one of the greatest poets America's ever produced. And he was, when he was launched and introduced into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986, Keith Richards said he lifted every lick he ever played from Chuck Berry. I can't wait for the album. They believe me.
Absolutely. I got a music-related one. Not nearly as much of a legend as Chuck Berry, but Moby has released a new music video that is pretty amazing. It skewers smartphone culture too, and so we'll embed the video at the blog post at beyondsocialmediashow.com/161, or is it 162 this episode? Can't remember what episode it is. Anyway, the video is from These Systems Are Falling, which is the debut album by Moby and the Void Pacific Choir. The song is called Are You Lost in a World Like Me? Social criticism about smartphone culture, isolation and alienation. The animation is amazing. It's an animated video with largely black and white animation. It's amazing, by Steve Cutts, which is in the animation is sort of a 20-ish Steamboat Willie type of style. But it depicts a world full of isolated zombie-like people who are walking, focusing on their smartphones throughout the video. The video addresses recording violence without stepping in on your smartphones, phones at the dinner table, so everybody looking at their phone and not talking, fake online selves, that people portray their wonderful lives when they don't have them. Selfie narcissism, Pokemon wasteland, Tinder vanity, cruelty, the cruelty of online ridicule. So it's really biting social commentary. It reminds me, though, of the soul coughing video for Rolling, which has very similar animated style. So we'll post both of them at the blog post.
They got all that in one video. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it is.
So Google announced that they have added Surveys 360 to the Google Analytics suite, which is now, it's meant for enterprise. And for the first time, marketers of all types can get fast, accurate market research in combination with their marketing and analytics data. And they will, it'll be as easy as buying an airline ticket, is what they said in their blog post. And they said market research has been slow to adapt to the changes in communication and in mobile proliferation, and that companies spend a lot of money, this is what Google said, to get the why behind the what, how, and where. But traditional research means hiring a research firm, waiting 3 months or more, and then getting data that's siloed and may not be shareable. They said that's exactly why we are integrating Google Surveys 360, previously called Google Consumer Surveys. And this is why it's valuable. With a panel of 10 million plus online respondents and 1 million surveys fielded weekly, it will offer enterprise marketers a brand new layer of data and insights, and of course it will cost them a bit of money. They haven't said how much it costs, but they also said they're going to sunset some of their older resources, and so the Survey Help Center, they're suggesting that you try new things. Twitter has a Google Analytics, and there's Google Analytics on Google+, and so watch for some of the things that we've been using to go away, and this new option, which will be paid to come, but it sounds pretty terrific.
Well, Google Analytics products just keep getting better and better and better. They keep adding more and more stuff, and this is a welcome addition, because what it allows you to do is do before and after awareness tests using surveys, which for advertising campaigns would cost you a lot, and a lot of clients don't want to do it because they don't see as much value in it. But with this, it's going to be a lot less expensive and easier to do. And if I remember correctly from the research that I did with the Google customer surveys, the pricing was about 10 cents a response. So that's pretty good. So
aren't you glad you don't work for a market research firm now?
Well, yeah, they kind of explode different industries one at a time, don't they? Speaking of explosions, though, there's a Next Web article by Juan Buis, reported on Facebook user Chris Kiley, who shared an intricate costume he created on his. He shared a video of him in it on his Facebook page, and Kiley is wearing a suicide bomber's vest of Galaxy Note 7 boxes, so a bunch of boxes across his chest in a vest, and and he's got a tube that he blows into, and he blows smoke into the boxes, and the boxes are smoking. So it is Galaxy Note boxes exploding, basically, to make fun of the fact that Galaxy Note 7 phones kind of explode. What I want to know, though, is what kind of smoke is that he's blowing into the boxes? What kind of party is he wearing that costume to? Does he live in Colorado? That's what I want to know.
And aren't we glad we don't work for Samsung? So,
exactly.
So talking about things changing, the Wall Street Journal reported that they're reorganizing basically to become much more appealing digitally. And so they're asking for shorter stories, for shorter attention spans, and a greater digital focus. This is from a Pointer story by Benjamin Mullen. And they're in the middle of this whole newsroom overhaul, and the transformation is going to cut out editorial flab. So in a memo to Wall Street Journal reporters on Tuesday, Editor-in-Chief Gerard Baker advised employees that unnecessarily long stories would be trimmed, and there was a newsroom-wide focus on digital journalism. And he said the print edition will be redesigned for delivery of more concise, digestible daily print paper for the loyal audience that still wants that. And said the editor's memo, we must be vigilant in keeping story lengths appropriate, bluntly but obviously. I hope every story should be as short as it needs to be. And this is my favorite sentence in that. There is no excuse for a single odious word or punctuation mark in our writing. Look it up, folks. Too many stories have repetitive anecdotes and unnecessary quotes. We will cut them. But the ultimate goal is cultural transformation for all of us, he said. And I guess that's everybody's ultimate goal, isn't it?
Well, it's interesting.
Don't be odious now.
Yeah, exactly. When I first saw that, I was like, okay, so are they going to be able to fit one story on their teaser text before you have to register and subscribe to the Wall Street Journal to actually read the stories? That'd be nice, because I don't want to spend much on the Wall Street Journal. On the other hand, clearly, because they have everything locked behind their subscription gate, they're not concerned about getting a lot of traffic from search or social, because long form content actually does better on search and social. So if they were interested in that, they'd be doing long form content, not cutting stuff down. But
well, I think they are concerned about getting more subscribers. I think that they're worried that their subscriber base may be shrinking in the face of all the digital competition that they have, you know? Maybe so does that bring us to projects, Dave?
It does, yes, indeed. So I was cited in a list, and it's an especially delightful list because as a Gen Xer, I often roll my eyes when I see surveys, which usually compare millennials and boomers and act as if Gen X doesn't exist. So this is a survey of 39 between 35 and 49 put together by Eric Hansen, who has a great newsletter called Talking Points Newsletter and a great podcast called Talking Points Podcast, which is Minnesota-based. He's here in Minnesota. He does the podcast with social media, head of social media at General Mills, and it's a great list of very talented Xers, communication professionals here in the Twin Cities. So I'm on it. Happy to be on it, proud to be on it, but there's a lot of real cool people and talented people that are on it as well. So if you want to see who's who in the Twin Cities, take a look at this. We'll have a link to that in the show notes.
That's very cool, Dave. Yeah. Congratulations. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So I think that brings us to shiny objects.
It does indeed.
You have a good one.
Yeah, so I've got one Facebook 360 photos update. So this they've had the ability to view 360 photos for a while, but this is an update to that from an NextWeb article by Napier Lopez. So now you can select the initial view for your 360 photo. So previously, when you uploaded a 360 photo, it would just give you whatever view Facebook decided to give you. It might be off to the side, and that's not the ultimate, that's not the most interesting part of the photo. So now you can select your initial view, which obviously will get you more views because it's a more interesting thing to look at in the feed. So you can do it two ways. You can drag your photo around to the proper view before posting an image on iOS or Android or on the web, or you can click Edit from the desktop and use the mouse to move it around to find your desired view. Facebook will also let you add 360 photos to standard photo albums, which apparently you could not do before, and you can post 360 media along with regular photos and videos all at once, so you don't have to upload them one at a time. So some minor improvements, but good improvements.
I like that, and I've yet to try it. I really have to get into that. So I found 8 great resources. This is from HubSpot. 8 great resources for creating beautiful infographics, and they're free, and there'll be a link to them. And the other thing that I came across is perhaps the new Pokemon. It's called Chicken Charge. It's a virtual reality game, and it has a unique twist. Your goal is chasing chickens and catching them. But unlike Pokemon, you also physically walk around the virtual objects and you see 3D creatures from all angles. This comes from Vertex Apps, and it's free in the App Store and Google Play. And as you walk around in the real world, you move around in the virtual world and you walk around these obstacles. You see them from all angles, and they're actually part of the real world, but they're only visible through the window on your iPhone or your iPad. And so while you're walking around trying to catch the chickens and get them back in their coop, there's rampaging buffalo and giant robots, and pianos fall from the sky, and you can play in open areas ranging in size from a small room to a basketball court. And you can also take photos that combine the real and the virtual worlds. I can't wait to try this. This looks like so much fun. And I like chickens.
Sounds like fun. I haven't played Pokemon in a long time, but I was out with some friends for happy hour, and my friend's wife was messing with the phone, and by the way that she was using her phone, I'm like, "You're playing Pokemon, aren't you?" Yep, I am. So people are still into it.
I have a quick chicken story.
Yeah.
One day I came home and there was a chicken standing like on the sidewalk next to my building. And I was like worried about the chicken because I thought a dog would eat it or a car would hit it or something. The chicken was just hanging out there. So I called 311, which is what you do if you have, an issue that's not a 911 issue. And I tell you, if the city got as involved in this as in anything horrible that happens, child abuse, for example, as they did in this chicken. Well, it turned out that the chicken belonged to people in the building next door, and they said the chicken was just out there because it likes to get the sun. But I was getting calls for weeks about this chicken from the city. Is the chicken okay? Is the chicken still out there? Do you know whose chicken it is? I mean, it's really funny anyway. So I do like chickens, and I actually met one in New York.
Who would have thought? A chicken in New York, kind of like an Englishman in New York, right? So, outbreak of chickens in New York. We've had an epidemic of scary clown sightings across the United States. Not just the United States, the world, and the UK as well. And last episode, we talked about how Ronald McDonald had to lay low because of all these scary clowns that have been popping up everywhere in the world. So we've even had a scary clown invade our presidential election. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, but
we do have a scary clown running for president. That's for damn sure.
PornHub is always on the latest stuff, and they use data to get their name out. It's a rather clever branding tool, and they've done it again this week with stats on clown-related searches. Who would have thought? PornHub has reported that a 210% increase in searches for clown porn. 33% of women are 33% more likely to search for clowns than men. I'm not gonna list the.
We're more familiar with clowns, let me tell you.
Yes, I'm not gonna list the individual searches that people are doing on Pornhub related to clowns, but we'll put the image, the infographic in the show notes, so you can find it at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/162.
Clown orgy, that's a good one.
I said I wasn't. Well, you said it. So okay.
Clown feet, okay. Gee, that that brings us to the end of episode 162 of the Beyond Social Media Show, and we hope you've enjoyed it. You'll find links to everything we discuss on our blog, BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/162. And we hope you leave us a review at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/love. You can find David Erickson on Twitter. He's at @DErickson. He blogs at eStrategyBlog.com and CreativePR.com/blog, both of which you should never miss because they're both terrific. Dave is a very prolific writer and a very good one. I'm BL Uckman. On Twitter, I'm at What's Next. I blog at What's Next blog and Paw Fun blog, and I run Maximum-Plus.com for streaming media and video interviews. The show is at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. On Twitter, we're at BS Media Show. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will find us on iTunes and Stitcher. And you will hopefully come back next week when we will return, same time, same station, with the best and the worst of the next week's news. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.